Now, speaking of the Premier Doug Ford is predicting that up to 500,000 jobs could be lost in Ontario because of Donald Trump. Ford says Trump's threat to impose 25% tariffs would be devastating for Ontario's economy, and he says the lost jobs would just be the start of the real economic damage. Al Sweeney reports.
Premier Ford is looking ahead to Donald Trump's inauguration as president on Monday.
Friends, we're now less than a week away from a new administration in the White House and the real threat of 25% tariffs on Canadian goods entering the United States.
He says those tariffs could mean massive job losses in Ontario.
It could cost 500,000 jobs. This is serious. It's unprecedented.
That would be more than 6% of Ontario's workforce of about 8 million people. Ford says every person in Ontario will be affected, and the province would have to come up with billions to support workers and businesses as Trump takes aim at Ontario manufacturing.
We're looking at spending tens of billions of dollars right now. It's very, very local per se. It's going to be our province that's going to be affected more than any other jurisdiction in the country. We're the ones with a target on our back.
McMaster University economist Colin Mang says tariffs could make this a difficult year for a lot of people, especially in areas like Hamilton's steel industry, which could be first on the tariff list.
For workers in Hamilton, I mean, what that would mean, you'd be looking at job losses right away, probably in the hundreds to start, but we could be looking at thousands of job losses locally because there's ripple-through effects. If we see 25% tariffs across the board, we're going to be going to a recession here in Ontario and also across Canada.
Ford said this morning he hadn't seen any plan from the federal government to deal with tariffs. But after meeting this afternoon with Federal Finance Minister Dominic LeBlanc, he said Ottawa has a solid plan to increase policing along the border as Trump wants. And LeBlanc said Ottawa will support Ontario.
The Government of Canada will, of course, be there to support industries and workers in collaboration with Premier Ford and his government.
At the same time today, President-elect Donald Trump put out a new social media post saying he plans to create a new external revenue service to collect what he calls our tariffs. He says we will begin charging those that make money off us with trade, and they will start paying. The critical issue now is what industries are going to be hit by tariffs and whether it's 25% for all of them or possibly less for some. The premiers and the Prime Minister will be working on this tomorrow at their emergency meeting.